Welcome back to the Get Up Girl podcast. We are live here on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, all the places where you can find video. And today's show is Two Chicks and a Mic. That's where my gal Salome Valdez and we sit down, we talk about what is in our world. So maybe you're listening on your favorite podcast app. Thank you so much. And if you're watching, we really appreciate it. And Happy New Year and welcome, Salome, to the first Two Chicks and a Mic of 2023.
Yes, thank you. I'm really excited about this episode actually because there's just so many things that go through my head, especially when I speak to different people on what their plans are for the next year or how they feel the last week of the year. And because of that, I came up with this episode of let's talk about how things are not set in stone and how, maybe we shouldn't put that much pressure on ourselves with how the year's supposed to look versus how it ends up being. And also, with that being said, I would like to talk about the word that Joanna and I usually come up with a certain word that'll be like the theme of the year. And it can change. But my word for 2023 is allowance. And it came up right away, Joanna, when you posted on your stories and asked that question. And I didn't have to think twice. I just pretty much, and I answered it and I said allowance because I would, and it can go several ways, this word. That's why I chose it. Allowance of being so many things. And this is what I mean by it. And then being okay with it. This is going to be, might be a little confusing. For example, allowing myself to fall in love several times this year. Who says that you're only supposed to fall in love once and that's supposed to be that one person? And it's like, that's the one person of your whole life that you're, even when you get married, like, oh, that's like the one thing, that person for you, your soulmate. We have probably so many soulmates. I don't know. but that was one thing that came to my head that would be fun. I think fall in love several times. I don't know. We'll see. I don't even do I even know how it feels? What's my definition of falling in love? Because again, just like how we say the definition of happiness can be different for everybody, but what if also the definition of falling in love can be different for everybody as well? So I really wanted to bring that up, and just the allowance of being okay with failing, because I know that I failed before, but there's still that judgment there. And I would love to feel more ease when there's failure, when there's sadness, when there's anger, and when I made decisions that I knew they were wrong, but I continued to do them because I had the benefit of the doubt about somebody or whatever. So the allowance of just having more ease with the choices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that word allowance. It's when you're the rock in the stream and the water flows around you with ease. Mm-hmm. You are not like the boat that has to go downstream or upstream where I'm trying to fight the current. I'm just a rock and the water goes around and around and around. And it's not saying, I'm going to take that back. And knowing that the water's going to be there. It's like we're trying to stop the water. Oh, I'm going to accept it. Because acceptance is the complete opposite of allowance. When you accept something, you make it solid, you make it real, you make it a conclusion. In allowance, there is never a conclusion. It just is, and it rolls around you. I love that word. My word for 2023 is teach. It took me 1 month to come to me. And I first had the word space, and it didn't light me up. And I'm sharing this story because one thing that Salome said is the words can change. You could change your word in June this year. I mean, you're always changing. And also your word most likely should light you up. It should feel fun. It should be where you remember this word. If you forget your word in March, it's probably not your word. Maybe there's another one, because your word's going to light you up. You're going to remember it. You're going to want that energy of tattooing it on your body kind of energy. And so this year, well, we'll go back to it in a little bit, but every year I wear my word on my wrist and I never take it off. And because it's fun for me, it lights me up. If that doesn't light you up, choose something different. A couple years before, I used to write it on a rock and I'd put it on my desk, but that didn't light me up anymore. The bracelet lights me up. And so the word teach, I had spaced for about all of December. Space, space. I want space. And I'm like, no, that's not it. It's not it. It's 90% space, but it's not it. And I choose 3 words a year. And then I have my number 1 word. So I'm like, you know what? Space can be my 2nd or 3rd word, but it is not it. And I said, what would I really like to choose this year? What would I really like to step into? And I would like to teach more. I'm already teaching, but I'm peekabooing in my teaching. I'm peekabooing in what I know. I'm peekabooing in how I can create for others. And so I'm like, it's teach. Teach is actually going to be the vehicle to get me to the space. Teach is the platform that is going to help me create the life I desire for this year. I'm like, teach sounds fun. Teach me lights me up. That is my 2023. So I'm really excited because now I'm going to, get my bracelet and, Patrick and I switch it. So Salome has abundance. I have teach.
Allowance.
That was a Freudian slip. Allowance and teach. And let's go back to 2022 at the beginning of January, what we would like to step into a year ago from today. And what was your word, Salome?
I remember I had 3 different words, but one of them that always stuck out was wander. Mm-hmm. Wander was something I always brought up, and it was just to wander and explore more about myself and to see who is actually me. But at the same time, Joanna, it kept changing because I would think, oh, this is me, and then the month later, oh no, this is me, and then the month later, oh no, this is me.
Wait, hold on, that is wondering. I'm wondering, is this me? Wait, I'm wondering, is this me?
Yeah, but that's what I kept saying. That was definitely that was the word for sure, because it was something that I kept asking every month. Every month was a question of, what is that? Oh, Salome, that's interesting. Okay, so now you like that. Oh, but now you don't like that anymore.
Yes. How was one way that helped you remember that word?
I think a lot has to do with you, Joanna, actually, because when we would just get together a lot more with your, I don't like to call them workshops or anything. I guess more of our gatherings of when we speak about our, when we get together and we talk about what our creations are and what we foresee with whatever plans we have, and you would always ask what word is, or what are the words too. There's 3 different words too as well, but the word, because of that, I would always come forward with that word, and it would remind me. And it was so cool because when I first thought about it, it's something that I wanted to do, and then it just kind of felt like it was a part of me. That word was just a part of me all year. I mean, I think even more in the fall when we got really busy with a bunch of events, and I got to meet so many people this past year, and I got to really create different circles of friends and acquaintances, and it's been a lot of fun because of that word last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bring that up because I've been teaching this for a while, and 95% of the people that choose a word in January, if I were to ask them again in June or March or August, 95% of them forgot their word. Now, no right, no wrong, no good, no bad, but I'm asking you why you remembered it, and it was because we kept checking in. Mm-hmm. So you had a Joanna to help check you in, or whatever it may be. I have my word here, but it's also the reminder of the people with whom you spend your time with that are going to ask you, hey, what's your word? Because also my girlfriends and I, we text each other, hey, how's your word going? What's up? And some, oh yeah, this, like the word is usually like this big mirror. It's a mirror for you. And it's like, what would you like to step into this year? And what would you like to create? Not what do I have to solidify and make so real for 12 months? And that goes back to, if it doesn't light you up and excite you, then it's probably concrete and it's probably solid and it's probably a conclusion. Instead of what would I like to step into and discover? So for me, teach. I would like to step in and discover how I can up level my teaching, what I can learn more from learning from teachers, etc. And my word from last year, 2022, was, and I'm going to say is, because every year my words, I bring them with me. All my words from 15 years ago, I bring them with me. It's like you give birth to that word and then you bring them with you forever and ever. So you will have wonder for the next 10, 20, 50 years, and allowance for the next same amount of years. So with potency, I totally created so much potency.
Yeah.
When I look back at my calendar, I'm like, OMG, how am I still standing? I didn't really get sick this year. I didn't get the flu, nothing. I did more and I did less. I did less than I've ever done ever. And I've done more with doing less, if that makes any sense at all.
Yes.
So I look back at December, and if you were to ask me, Joanna, what did you do in December? Not much. And I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, we did so much. Patrick wrote me a letter yesterday and it was recapping December. And we did this and we did this. I'm like, dang, we did a lot. I would have never have remembered because it didn't feel like a lot because I was so potent. It's like having one dip of a chili seed and you're like, oh my gosh, I barely touched the chili with one drop. We've all done that. It's on our finger and we put it on our eye and you're like, oh my God, my eye's on fire because of one drop of chili. That's the potency that I wanted to step into last year of, can I do more by doing less? Can I be that chili seed with one chili seed where somebody else needs, 100 times the chile rather than like, I just need one drop. That was 2022.
I agree with you, Joanna, because I'm looking back at 2019, my first full year with you, and I felt that it was like a lot. And I think it's also because it was the first year with you and stuff. But we did a lot this past year. And even though there are times where I thought, oh my God, it's a lot, but I think I go back and compare to other times, the ease was a lot more of there was a lot more ease than before, and so much more fun, because remember we kept saying that we would like to have more fun and put the fun in that, and we've definitely been completing that for sure.
Yeah. How many points of views are we buying in this reality from other people, movies, songs, books of don't do too much, you're going to stress yourself out, etc. And what if we are freaking magical beings that can create so much more by doing less? What if that was our reality? And that was 2022 for me. What if that's my reality of, I'm not going to buy this, we need to relax. And yes, I take a lot of time to relax. And I ask a question though. Before I never asked a question. I went right into conclusion of I need me time and I need to take space. I never asked myself, hey, check in. Hey, body, do you need a day off? Body's like, no, we're good. Keep going. Okay. But before, I never would get curious. I would automatically go into this is how it has to be. And when I did that, Salome, I was sick. I was sick all the time because I was not asking my body. So my body's like, Joanna, listen up. I'm going to make you sick because you ain't listening to me. And it was just slapping me around to give me fun ways. But hey, Joanna, listen up. Listen. And this year I kept checking in. I check in with my body. Hey, body, literally when the alarm goes off in the morning, I ask, hey, body, would you like to get up now? Hey, body, do you need more sleep? And if my body's like, I'm good, I get up 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 6:30. It doesn't matter. It's not I have to do this because in this reality, 5 a.m. means that you're a hard worker. No, I'm just getting up because my body's like, I'm good. That's it. It's a question. Every morning's a question. Every day's a question. Every 5 seconds is a question. And so with doing that, gosh, I haven't been had the flu. Like maybe once in a while I feel a little like, oh, what is this? My body feels a little off, but not like I've been in the past where I've been sick for months. When I get the flu for a week, then I have that lingering cough for 2 to 3 months. That was Joanna. That was my life. That was just part of it. I thought that's who I was. I bought the lie that that's who I was forever and ever as a stamp. That was such a lie. And so that was stepping into 2022. And now with all that, how do I teach this? How do I if I teach it to one person, cool. If I teach it to, wow, if I could teach it to 100 people, what if I could teach it to 1,000 people? That's what I'm stepping into. And I'm open to teaching it to 1 or 1 million people. Either one, I'm just going to teach it. And I'm going to keep teaching. I'm going to keep teaching because I've been peekabooing of, they're not ready yet. All those lies of the teach. Woo, okay. So
I want to say so much. I kept because like
I wanted to talk about low on time. Dang. Did you want to add something before I want to say one more thing?
Okay. Just going back to the allowance of figuring out, not even figuring out, knowing what's ours when we're using being sick or being burnt out as a cop out to just lay back rather than, hey, what if you just take a vacation because you need a vacation or you want one? Like, it's not even that you need one, it's more like you want one, and changing that factor of it. And hey, like calling out of work. Why? Because I'm calling out of work. Hey, Joanna, I need today. I'm not sick, but I need it. You know, it's just instead of making ourselves sick so that we can use that as a cop out of, I'm tired, I'm burnt out. Why are we waiting until we're burnt out or tired to take these days off? That's another thing too that I learned this past year. And then the second thing, when you were talking about that was, dude, I forgot because I had so many things in my head. You kept talking.
Not that important.
I got excited.
I want to talk about the pressure of the last week of December, the 1st of January, and we're supposed to magically change like Cinderella at the stroke of midnight and be this whole new person and create our 12 months to be solid, to be it forever and ever. And this is what I'm going to do next year. And it's too much. It's too much, everybody. And this is what the best of the best do. If you were to talk to all the best of the best successful people, and when I say successful, I'm going to define them as they live with ease. They don't talk about the propaganda that's the negative. When they sit around, they talk about possibilities in life. They don't talk about doom and gloom. These are people that create the finances that they would like. These are the people that create finances so that they could donate to big charities and create change on this planet. Those are the successful people I'm talking about. And let me tell you, the successful people, the best of the best, they're not making big New Year's resolutions or big New Year's changes. What they're doing is they're keeping the momentum they already have, and they're making tiny 1-degree changes. And so I teach my annual plan, and I've taught this for, 10 plus years. And I see that. I see people that come to the workshop with, oh my gosh, I've been thinking about this, and here's my plan. And they come in with these big, grand targets, and I have to pull them back because they want to overpromise and underdeliver. And I'm like, let's underpromise and freaking overdeliver. Make little changes. If you press snooze 3 times, we'll press snooze 2 times. Imagine you're going to get 8 minutes back of every snooze you press for 365 days. That's a lot of hours. The little things. Jump in.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So Also, the definition of success is different for everybody. In my eyes, Joanna, I think you're fucking successful. Okay. But you might think differently of yourself. You might think, oh, I'm not successful because this is what I want in my life. Totally cool, you know? But I also would like to tell the audience and our listeners that and remind you that again the definition your own definition your definition of blue, your definition of gray, your definition of a rainy day, your definition of a sad day, that's like your definition. Success definition is also a very different uh perspective. And I also really believe in that. I've been really thinking about that lately too. Like, oh, what is success? Maybe success for me is being really happy with what I have and really genuinely being happy. You know, maybe that's success for me. A lot of people have a different perspective on what success is, and I've been wanting to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you this live, Joanna. But I truly just want to commend you for a lot of things that you've been doing in your life, and thank you so much for being the person you are, and for always growing and for always noticing yourself with the growth that you have and really speaking up about it and telling us your story live as well. And to me that is successful, Joanna. So thank you so much for being this great person.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I'm going to throw in my point of view on success for myself.
Mm-hmm.
For myself, my point of view of success is being greater than what I already know I am.
Mm.
And so I totally get that I'm successful. And I also know, Joanna, you have so much more.
Oh,
you're playing small. And what is that choice of playing small?
mm-hmm.
And that's where I play, Salome. I play in this little circle of I defend how successful I am. So I defend it. Oh, I'm good. I'm already successful. And then I stop myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're already, you've capped it, Joanna. You're good. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm barely at less than 5% of what I can actually create. So that's my success.
Right. Totally. And that's your success, right? Because you know what's successful for you. And that's why I wanted to bring that up. But I also wanted you to know how you look in my eyes. If that makes any little difference.
And that's what I am. Gosh, what's the word? Like I am like in shackles by that. Because I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And the little lie of like, Joanna, there's more.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know what
and
I mean?
I know that too. And I know there's more.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where I play. Oh,
yeah.
That's it. They're one of my 3 words that I'm also playing with 2023. So I have teach, space, and the third one is lies. People go, lies? Why is that your word? Like it's supposed to be this positive, great word. I'm like, no, lies, because it's going to remind me when I buy these lies of BS. And the lie is that that's it for Joanna. Or there's a gazillion lies that I buy, right? And with fun and ease, without the, Joanna, you're buying this lie, like, oh, Joanna, you're buying this lie. Are you willing to be greater? And even if I'm willing to be greater 1% today, and then tomorrow 1 more percent greater, and 1 more percent greater, imagine that's 365% better every day.
Yes, Joanna. And also another thing that I like about you, that you have fun doing it and you have ease doing it. Because what if you die tomorrow, right? I mean, that's like something that's been in my head too. It's like we die tomorrow, and then what did you do? You worked so hard to be successful, right? Yeah. But you, Joanna, have so much fun doing it, and you're happy doing it, and you know you want to do more, which is great because I do too. And I believe that you can definitely do more, be more successful. So I'm saying that you're successful, but you can be more successful, right? But also you're doing it with ease. You're doing it with love. You're doing it with happiness. You're doing it with growth, with your choices that you're making. I go back to that. I know that if you die tomorrow, you're still going to die happy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for acknowledging that. I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, you and I both get it when we're on this journey, and it's not, and I'm looking for the words, but it's not to impress anything or anyone. We're on this journey because you and I know that we could be greater. Not we're on this journey because whatever reason, it doesn't matter. And I'm aware of that. And I'm like, wow, I wonder if more of us, or if I can be more of the invitation to create that for others. So that's also success of like, how can I be more to be a bigger invitation in order for more people to receive that invitation as well. And so everything that you and I are talking about throughout the whole year. So we're talking about the beginning of the year, but the whole year. This is not for 12 months straight. You could change it, grow. Let's do this again in a month. You do it again in a week. You do it again in the quarter. You do it again every night. Check in, check in, check in, check in. Keep checking in. Those are the questions. Check in, because when we don't ask a question, we become solid, and now we're concrete for whenever until you ask another question. But when you ask another question, it dissipates it. When we don't ask a question, we make it solid like concrete. So really envision like a big piece of concrete. So every time you're like, I have to wake up at this time tomorrow. What if you just wake up and then you ask a question and then you make a choice? Ask a question, then you make a choice. That's how we live in the 12 months. But we're asking a question only at the beginning of the year. How many people are asking questions right now? When do we stop asking questions?
Yeah.
What if we continue? Ask questions, ask questions. So I'm going to get louder and teach that. So thank you for acknowledging that. I really appreciate it. Gosh, we're coming to the end. Anything else that you would like to add, Salome?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And thank you, Salome, for having my back and also being invited in. So when you're invited in, that helps me speak louder and get louder. So I appreciate that.
The willingness.
The willingness. Yep. And willingness doesn't mean that you like it, right? Some people go, oh, I'm not willing. It doesn't mean that you want to, but are you willing, right? Like, I don't want to. I always joke with Patrick because he'll say, do you want to do this? I go, I don't want to, but I'm willing to do it.
Yeah.
Joke, right? Of course, I don't want to clean the dishes, but I'm willing to do it. So what will we have more of that in life? Thank you so much for listening to the Get Up Girl podcast, and Happy New Year. And as you walk into 2023, ask, what would I like to step into this year for 2023? And the next question is, how can I remind myself of this word? What works for you? And mine is a bracelet. Salome's is asking all the time or having people around her. You could write it on a rock. You can tattoo it on your leg, whatever you would like, so that it can remind you of your word. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye, y'all.